Hi
That
everyone.
pop-up is not appearing on my screen.
Okay, well, that's good, Ted. We're going to go ahead and start with Adam and the introduction.
Hi everyone, this is Adam Weiser, the project director of the Illinois Self-Advocacy Alliance. We call ourselves Alliance for Soul. During our presentation, we ask all attendees to mute themselves so that it is easier for everyone to hear. You may choose to either leave your camera on or turn it off. If you want to connect with the presenter or the Alliance, please use the chat box. You can also raise your hand if you want to speak. We will have time for questions and answers at the end of the presentation. When the presentation ends, a 5-question survey will pop up on your screen. We ask that you consider completing the survey as your feedback is important. This presentation is being recorded and will be placed on the Alliance's YouTube channel. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel where we have more than 140 recorded presentations that are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. Today we'll learn from Arts of Life Self-Advocacy Group as they share how they use creative expression as a form of advocacy in drawings, paintings, poetry, and zines. We will also learn steps to take to start our personal advocacy through artwork. Find your voice through creativity and talk about how creative projects can be used to organize and build community. As a fun learning opportunity, Arts of Life Self-Advocacy Group members will lead us through a brainstorming session and art making opportunity. We hope that you have pencils, markers, pens, and paper ready to make art. If we're not to draw, you can explore poetry. Artwork can take many forms. Arts of Life advances the creative arts community by providing artists with intellectual and developmental disabilities a collective space to expand their practice and strengthen their leadership. You can follow Arts of Life Self-Advocacy Group at Self-Advocacy Group Arts of Life on Instagram. Welcome, Arts of Life.
Hi, everyone. This is Rio speaking. I'm just going to make sure that my participants are ready. Chris, do you feel ready? Great. Ted, are you ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Nick, you feel ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to get started. Hi, everyone. My name is Rio Goodwin Perez. I am a facilitator of the home and community programs here at Arts of Life. I use they, them pronouns, and I also am one of the facilitators along with Annie Solar, my supervisor of the Artist Self-Advocacy Group, and it's one of our favorite projects that we do. Today we are presenting to the Self-Advocacy Alliance of Illinois, and we're really grateful that you guys are having us out to speak one more time. And today we're going to be talking about advocacy through arts. I'll just run through the table of contents. So you guys will get to know the artists in the beginning. They'll talk a little bit about their personal lives, their art practices. Then we'll introduce a little bit about the history of Arts of Life and what's unique about Arts of Life so you guys can get familiar with the organization. Afterwards, we'll dive into the history of our self-advocacy group. We'll speak about all of the current projects that we're working on, of which there are very many. Afterwards, we will have a small art making session. So we'll have about 15 minutes towards the end. Guys will be given a prompt and you'll be able to make art that follows the prompt. After that, you guys will get the chance to share the pieces that you've been working on and ask any questions that you may have for our artists. So let's go ahead and get started. Chris, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, I am Chris. I am a pastels and watercolors artist. I like to do landscapes. I also write poetry. I published 4 books. I am a bocce player. I am die-hard Cubs fan.
Thanks, Chris. Nick.
I am Nick Huseman. I am an artist. I'm also in the bingo and I love to draw.
And Ted.
Hello, my name is Ted Grambrini. I'm an artist. I'm also in Van Gogh. I'm one of the singers in Van Gogh. Our music is on in iTunes and stuff like that. If you're interested, I'm an artist. I do comic book books. Yeah.
Ted. Nick, talk about the history of Arts of Life.
Well, welcome everyone. I want to tell you the history about Art to Life. The history of Art to Life. The history of Art to Life was founded by around 25 years.
Oh, yeah. You got it. Let's go slow.
Denise Fisher and Ronnie Kirtridge was the founders of Arts to Life. Have a say. We all make our own group decisions.
Thanks, Nick. So Chris, would you like to tell me what you like about Arts of Life?
I like Arts of Life. The studio is community of artists that work together.
Thanks. Nick, what do you like about Arts of Life?
I like Art to Life because it reminds me of being in the community. And it also reminds me of how to connect with other people.
Ted, what do you like about Arts of Life?
I like Arts of Life because it not only connects with our people, but it lets our people in on what we're doing outside of the community. So that's why I like it.
Thanks, Ted. Great answers, y'all. Chris, what about the history of Self-Advocacy Group?
While Arts of Life has always had a self-advocacy group, the previous versions died out during the pandemic. It was reinvigorated after Chris View and Alicia Kostelny worked with Self-Advocacy Alliance of Illinois. I thought we needed a self-advocacy group to change how the community treats disabled people. Chris View, I thought as artists we could make art in another way to show advocacy. Nikki Huseman.
Thanks. So Nick, why did you join Self-Advocacy Group?
I joined Self-Advocacy Group to speak up and speak out and tell people how I feel about in the community.
Great. Ted, why did you join Self-Advocacy Group?
I joined Self-Advocacy to talk about my experiences being mentally and physically kind of damaged. So that's why I joined.
Chris, did you already answer? Chris, why did you?
I joined Self-Advocacy group. I want to change how services belong offered to people like myself. I thought ours best way to get my point crossed.
Great answers, y'all. Thank you for that. So let's talk about what we've been up to. We have been so busy as a group, especially the past like 3 or 4 months. So we thought that we would give you guys kind of a rundown of what we've been doing. So Ted, do you want to talk a little bit about the Disability Pride Parade?
Yes. The last 3 or 4 months ago, we've been part of a event called the Disability Pride Parade. And we're trying to show people to have pride in their disability. Not even, I would say, don't even think about your disability as a disability. Think about it as a part of you.
Thanks for that, Ted. That was a really great answer. I also wanted to mention that several of us are wearing our Disability Pride shirts today that we made specifically for the parade, and it was a lot of fun. It was in downtown Chicago. Here's a photo of us with the Grand Marshal right here in the center. She is also an artist, so we really connected with her on that side. Chris.
We had have representations from different organizations given presentations to our group. We have located lawyer from Equip for Equally, representative from both PACE and RTA, and the Center of Mad Culture.
Great. And this is an illustration that Chris made during one of our art making sessions. It's actually a map of Illinois and it has red tape all over it. It's kind of a metaphor for the experience of someone with disabilities trying to live and thrive in Illinois. Chris is a huge self-advocate, so I always love to see what kind of work that he makes. Speak up, speak out.
Where,
It's on this thing.
oh, I'm looking up there.
Okay.
Is this the right page?
Yes, ma'am.
There. There, okay. We have given a presentation on about our zines at Speak Up and Speak Out in October.
Do you want to remind everyone what Speak Up, Speak Out is?
Speak Up and Speak Out is the organization to speak up and speak out about our disability.
Great, thank you. Some more photos from the Disability Pride Parade. We had a lot of fun. Ted, do you want to talk about how we've been tracking rides and complaints from PACE rides?
Over the past, I'd say month and a half, correct, Rio? Is that correct?
Or we've been doing it probably since last year, honestly.
Have we been doing this over the past month and a half?
For about a year, we've been working on tracking pace rides, Ted.
Yes, thank you. For about a year, we've been working on tracking pace rides because the pace company doesn't know what we want to be changed, if anything. So we've had to track and basically tell them what's wrong. Track our pace rides and tell them the times that we've been getting late to work, if anything.
Yeah, so on the screen, you can see the form that Annie created as a way to keep track of the situation of the writers, of all of our artists, because we frequently have complaints that we need to make with pace. So you can see here that there are a lot of different categories, such as pickup time, if the driver was rude or respectful, the amount of time that they spent on the bus. So we've just been tracking all of this data as a way to make sure that artists are able to advocate for themselves. So we have a form that allows them to know specifically what they need to say when they are filing the complaints. And it's been a really, really useful system for data collection. Chris.
Chris Vuanishly Kostelny worked with the Self-Advocacy Alliance of Illinois to help create an accessible Know Your Rights document.
Yes, this is a photo from the Know Your Rights document. Chris and Alicia are two of the individuals who really reinvigorated our self-advocacy group several years ago. So very thankful for their presence in the group.
Yes.
Let's talk about our current project, our zine.
Yes.
Hey, Ted, right now it's Chris's turn.
Okay.
Current project our zine. We are working to expand our reach outside of our organization. To do that, we have created a zine. A zine is a shorthand-made publication that can feature a variety of subjects. Ours is about advocacy. The first volume of our zine, Bus of Doom, was finalized in May. This first volume features stories of pace paratransit, housing injustice, and generally ableism. We recently started our second zine, which has the theme mistreatment experienced by people with disabilities. We want you to submit.
Yes, and our zine is finally available for purchase at Quimby's bookstore on the south side, or it's in Wicker Park. So if you're ever in Wicker Park and you want to go check out Quimby's, you can purchase a copy of our zine. But the digital zine is also available online, and we are about to take a look at it. So we thought that since the last time we were here, you guys saw kind of the initial stages of our zine, we could show you guys what the final copy looks like. One, so you can see all the hard work that the artists have been putting in, but also so that you guys can get a little bit of inspiration for the art making session that we have coming up here in just a few short minutes. So I'm gonna run through our zine so that you guys can take a look at the art, and those of the artists who are presenting today are gonna just tell us a little bit more about their pieces. So here you can see on the screen, there is an illustration of a school bus or a pace bus that's on fire with the caption Bus of Doom. The title of the zine is Bus of Doom, True Stories of Pace Paratransit, housing injustice, and other ableist nonsense. So let's get started. Here on the left-hand side, you can see the illustration that was seen on the front cover. This illustration is made by Omar Abelsheikh. He's not here right now. He's visiting his family overseas, but he is a huge, strong presence in our group. This is an illustration made with oil pastel on paper. Chris, would you like to talk about your piece on the right-hand side?
My art piece is about people living in an ICF looking out in community, not living in their community. I use color pencil S.
Great. Yeah, Chris has been in a very long journey of housing, just nonsense. So a lot of his work lately has been about that situation because it's a really wild situation. Ted, do you want to talk about your piece that you made that was about the bus being crowded?
Yes, in this piece, we basically felt the reason I made this picture was because on the bus we basically felt like sardines because there was no space for me, Nikki, and Chris to get on the bus. We basically had to crowd in. We thought, well, this is bad. You know, something has to change. And so that's what this picture is about.
Thanks, Ted. And Ted's caption, like he just explained, says, I was on the bus and the bus was so crowded. We felt like sardines on the bus. It was no seats. And this illustration was made using graphite on paper. On the right-hand side, you can see a piece by one of our Chicago studio artists. His name is Steve Parhigh. It's also a graphite drawing on paper, and it looks to be an illustration of a boy or a man. Steve does a lot of portraiture work, and we're really thankful to have him as part of Self-Advocacy Group. Another Chicago artist who also participates in Self-Advocacy Group is Caroline Chun. This illustration on the left-hand side shows her stuffed plush, Curious George, which is one of her comfort objects that gives her a lot of confidence. Her caption says, George gives me comfort and helps me communicate. And the piece was made with marker and graphite on paper as well. Another illustration on the right-hand side is very fitting to the theme, another bus on fire. It's a very common aesthetic in this zine. This one is a school bus, and you can see inside of the windows what look to be very sad children. This piece was made with graphite, pen, and marker on paper. Next up, we have Nick. Nick, I'm gonna read your caption, and then you can talk a little bit about your piece, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Great. So Nick's quotes here say, I hope you can take this zine and express how you feel in your daily life, or if you're traveling. I hope you enjoy our zine. The next quote says, staff treat me different at home because of my disability and my vision. They don't let me go out in the community and they don't let me express how I feel. So I express how I feel through art. Why don't you talk a bit about your piece?
My piece was made because it reminds me of my daily life when I come to work and go home remind me of about my daily life to let you know how it feels to see how a vision impaired person would feel about expressing themselves through art.
Thanks, Nick. Yes, a lot of these pieces are very metaphorical, and I appreciate how often the artists are able to use art to not necessarily convey a specific situation, but the feeling that that they have as people who have disabilities experiencing discrimination. Next up, another bus on fire. This one is made by Ari Carter, and it's called Paste Bus on Fire. It's made with marker on paper, and underneath the illustration of the white and blue paste bus set on fire is a poem that she wrote. I'll read it now. The white paste bus is a nightmare. The white paste bus is a rot in hell. The white paste bus is a neglect. The white paste bus is an abuse. The white paste bus is a wheels on bus are round and round from hell. I feel like all of us agree with that poem. Yet another paste illustration by the one and only Ted Hamill, who's sitting over here in the tie-dye shirts. This one is called Pace Not Dropping Me Off at My House, and it's a situation that Ted was actually put in where he was dropped off at the wrong location, and then he had to figure out a way to get home.
At night.
At
Yes.
night. Oh, wow.
Very unfortunate situation. Pace is not looking too good. Okay, an illustration by another one of our Chicago artists, this one by G. G is no longer part of the Arts of Life studio, but we're so thankful to have him as a participant in this zine. And this piece is a marker illustration, and it looks to be a portrait of either a small person or a child with really big tears and a lot of sadness on their face. They could possibly be at a playground or another location. On the right-hand side, we have a piece made by the one and only Alicia Kostelny, who is a Chicago artist who helped reinvigorate our self-advocacy group with Chris View. This is a comic style piece. It's the only comic that we have in this particular zine. Her caption says, "When I was working at Lifetime Fitness, they fired me because I had seizures, even though they knew about it before I was hired." If you look at the lower two panels, you can see her illustration of essentially being asked to leave or being fired by Lifetime Fitness because of her seizure disorder. Up on the top two panels, you can see a similar situation that she experienced at Hanson Park Elementary School as a child. The caption on the upper left-hand panel over here says, "You can no longer attend this school." So a comic made about the different types of discrimination that Alicia has experienced throughout her life. And finally, we have another illustration of a bus made by G using graphite on paper. The bus could possibly be in front of a school or his home, and there are two figures. One is inside the bus, looks to be the bus driver, and the other one is outside the bus, and he's holding a small object, could be a purse or a lunchbox, something similar to that. And on the right-hand side, we have headshots of our lovely participants in self-advocacy group. You can see everyone whose pieces have been included in this particular zine. And the caption about us says, "We are the Arts of Life self-advocacy group. We speak the truth, expose ableist bullshit, and support one another through all the nonsense." And finally, on our last page, on the back cover, is an illustration by the one and only Aaron Kleeblatt. This piece is called Pace Sucks, Pace Hater. You can see that this man's hat says pace sucks, which I think all of us need that hat for sure. And on the right-hand side, it says pace hater. Thank you so much for looking at the zine. We're gonna head back to the regular presentation now.
Rio, this is
Yes.
Christine.
Hi, Christine.
Before we leave this section on
Yeah.
the zine, we did have one question, and I wanted to make sure that, well, this is a great place to ask this.
Sure.
Has this zine been shared with PACE, with perhaps the Division of Developmental Disabilities, or the Chicago Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities? So the question is, yeah, has this been shared?
So we have shared the zine with a lot of people, but those two particular groups we have not, and I'm glad that you brought them up because we're probably going to be sending them a copy as soon as this presentation is over.
No, we have not.
Do we have any more questions before I move on?
This is Christine, and no, not about the zine, but we've had questions and comments rolling in, so
Awesome.
I'll be excited to
Awesome,
share it
great.
at the end.
Great, perfect. Okay, let's move forward so we can get to the exciting part. Nick.
Okay, are you ready for me now?
Yes, we are.
Now it's your turn. Thank you. Think of a time when you were bullied and or treated badly. Because of your disability. Time when you saw bullying, or perhaps a time someone else. Please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You were up there.
Spend a few minutes making art with clothes.
It
Could be a drawing, comic, or poem. Or a personal story.
Thanks.
Sorry, it took me a little
Doing
longer.
great. You don't have
You're
to
doing
apologize.
great, you're doing great.
Thank you.
So here is an example piece that I thought I would bring up that one of our Southside studio artists created that fits with the same theme of our upcoming zine, Mistreatment Experienced by People with Disabilities. And I wanted to include this piece as an example for you guys to see of a way that you could, one, create a drawing, or two, simply write a personal story or a poem about the mistreatment that you've experienced as someone with disabilities. So this piece was made by Louis Sandoval, and it is an illustration of his experience at the Henry Clay Elementary School when he was a child. You can see here on the right, this is his dad and this is him. And he's in front of a very mean looking principal. And essentially this story is about the racism and the ableism that Louis experienced as a child, and how he had to actually leave that school. So like I said before, I wanted to include this piece so that you could see some of the options of ways that you can create a piece that follows the theme. So Ted, do you want to go ahead and introduce our art making time?
Yes. At this moment in time, I want you guys to spend at least 15 minutes in which you guys can either write or somehow describe what is in the photo and go on from there.
Great. So yes, like Ted said, we are gonna have about 15 minutes for you all to go ahead and start making your own personal advocacy art. Right now it is 10:37, so that means that 15 minutes will be at 10:52. So at 10:52, I'm going to unmute myself so that you guys so that we can move forward. If we do end up needing a little bit more time, that's okay, but that will just put us at about 8 more minutes left for questions and comments. So I do want to just stick to the 15-minute session, if that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead on mute, and while you guys are making art, I'm just gonna be scrolling through a few photos. Some of the photos are of the illustrations from our zine, so if you get kind of caught and you're not sure what kind of work to make, you'll have a little bit of inspiration on the screen. I am muting myself right now.
Mm-mm. Um,
We have about 9 minutes left, everyone.
Um,
We have 4 minutes left.
Wow, you really
I, if you could.
Did you finish?
No, not yet.
Okay. When you need something, call me, okay?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Uh,
Okay,
uh,
let's take 1 more minute and then we will share out.
Uh-oh, is that 1 minute up already?
Hey, thank you guys so much, everyone. So Nick,
Okay. It's time to share art and ask questions.
great. So Christine, I would love it if you could just read us the questions that we have, so I don't have to stop screen sharing.
Yes,
If that works for you.
absolutely. Yes,
Thank
that
you.
does. So I have had 3 questions and 1 comment. I will read the comment first. And this relates back to the Know Your Rights document that your self-advocacy group worked on. And someone said that has been very, very helpful. Thank you.
Thanks so much for that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. The first question goes back to the Disability Pride Parade and the t-shirts you had. And this question is, how did you decide on the artwork on the front of your Disability Pride t-shirt?
Nick, do you want to answer that? Do you remember how we chose what shirts we were gonna have?
I didn't wear mine today,
Okay,
but yeah,
I do.
I will.
So maybe,
okay, Ted, I think that Nick has got the answer. Thank you, though.
Thanks, Ted, but I can take it.
okay,
We decided to vote on how to do the t-shirts. We also did like a flag on front of it, and we choose a zigzag flag for the disabilities.
Mhm.
Remember what phrase it said on there? You came up with the phrase.
I came up with the phrase,
So,
be yourself, love yourself.
yes.
Wow.
So like Nick mentioned, the artists use oh my gosh. The word just went from me. We all work together to make decisions. We have a collective
Mhm.
decision-making model here. And that is one of the it's the main way that we make decisions as a self-advocacy group. So we all collectively decided which version of the t-shirt we were going to create. And then Annie and I went to the Glenview Public Library and we actually made the t-shirts ourselves in their maker space. So it was a really, really fun experience.
Do we
Thank
have
you for
any
that.
other questions?
Yes, Nick, this is Christine, and we do. This next question is, how many artists are at Arts of Life?
Ted, do you want to answer this one?
about how many hours?
So we have about 30 artists up here at the North Shore. And on any given day, we probably have between 15 to 25 artists in on the floor. So we are very, very busy.
We have, I mean, on any given day, we have about 3 hours. And on any given day, we do have a lot of artists who are on the floor.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that we have about 30 artists here at North Shore. We have about 30 artists on our roster at the Chicago studio. So we have multiple different studios. We also have a South Side program, which is new and growing. And they have 4 artists, but they are constantly enrolling more because it's a very new program, only a few months old. And then we have our home and community programs, which are not specifically based in the studio, but we offer different options that are out in the community, and it's a little bit of a smaller time commitment, and we have a roster of about 13 artists in that program.
Wonderful. From Shantae, this is all amazing information. I'm really enjoying this webinar. Thank you, Shantae, for that comment. I have one more question that has come in. What types of media are used at Arts of Life?
Hey Ted, let's let Chris answer because he hasn't answered a question. Chris is just gonna type his answer out.
That's an easy question. I love it.
Take your time, Chris.
Take your time, Chris.
Take your time, Chris.
We'll
Go.
wait.
He's got it, guys.
Watercolors, acrylic, pencil, and pen.
Yeah, watercolor, acrylic, pastel, pen. We have an artist who makes tape sculptures. We have artists who make comics and lists. We have graphite artists. So we have basically a little bit of everything. We also have newly created ceramics program here. So artists are able to have access to clay. So we have basically everything. Yeah, we do. We do Highland Park. Yeah, we go to Evanston Art Center and Art Center in Highland Park to do our home and community program. So Annie currently is offering a floral still lifes class. We have a ceramics class over there, and we also have an open studio. So we're doing a little bit of everything over here.
Wow. Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Rio. Those are all the questions and comments I've had.
Great. I think that Chris, you actually had something else to add.
An artist creates a horse.
Oh, yeah. Chris is really excited because he started working on his Halloween costume, and it's this really awesome cutout, like not life size, but very large cutout of a horse that he's gonna attach to his chair. So it's gonna look like he's riding a horse, which is really fun. So just to wrap things up, Ted, do you want to go ahead and invite people to submit to our zine?
Yes, at this point in time, I would love to invite you guys to submit to our zine. There are a couple ways you can do it. The first way you can do it is by the computer. We have a website that you can go to, which is artsalife.org. And on that website, you will have a link that you can go to, which will take you to the submissions page, or you can also do it by phone.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. So if you look on the screen, you can see this very large QR code. If you're a smartphone user, you can use your camera to scan the code on the screen. It'll take you straight to the Google Form application. You can also go to this link right here. That will take you straight to the application, or if neither one of those options work for you, you can just shoot us an email at selfadvocacy@artsoflife.org. Just a reminder that the theme of this upcoming zine is mistreatment experienced by individuals with disabilities. And the deadline to submit is November 8th at 5 p.m. And just to close out, I wanted to invite all of you guys to keep in touch with us and to follow the work that we've been doing. So like I mentioned before, our email is selfadvocacy@artsoflife.org. And we are also newly on Instagram. So if you use Instagram and you want to just see what we've been up to, you can follow us at Self-Advocacy Group Arts of Life. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, did I miss it? Did we have time for people to share?
Yeah, we did.
I missed it.
Oh, thanks everyone so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.